Hey, hey, hey. Hope everyone is doing well. My name is Meshele Hardy, and I am the host of the Go For It Sis podcast. I not only have this as a podcast, but I also have an intentional merch store where you can shop at goforitsiss.com. In today's episode, I really want to talk about the audacity to show up. And the reason why I want to talk about this, truthfully, a lot of this conversation today comes from experience, what I've noticed over the last couple of months specifically, but also just throughout my years. I will be turning 40 years old next month. And I am proud of that because so much life experience has happened over these last 40 years. And I think that more than anything, life has taught me that you simply have to live out the fullness of who you are in every season, whatever that may look like. Be audacious enough to show up. And in doing so, you not only learn more about yourself, learn more about this world, learn more about others, but there is a reciprocation that takes place where when you pour out well, you receive well. When the Bible says, give and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, running over, that scripture for so long was just contextualized into being financial. But life has taught me that it is not just financial, but that there is a reciprocation that takes place when we give, when we pour out, when we serve. And understanding that service, is the goal, right? To serve is the goal. It helps me to understand so much about what life not only looks like now, what it's looked like in the past, but even what it will look like in the future. So, in this episode, I want to talk a lot about the audacity of simply showing up. And I'm speaking from experience. I don't have a whole ton of notes because I really wanted to make sure that I shared as authentically as I could, and I always share authentically. However, today, I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare, but I know exactly what it is that I want to say. So stay tuned. Let me take you back to late 2025 of this year and walk you forward to current 2026. We're now in April. Okay. At the end of 2025, I had a decision to make about where my business, Go For It, Progress on Purpose, which is the actual business, but specifically Go For It Sis, what it was, where it was going. And that caused me to reflect back on what I prayed for in prior seasons about what this was all to be about. And one thing I know to be true is that God gave me Go For It Sis. Go For It Sis is a mantra that simply pushes women forward. I am calling out women who have unfinished God-given business, whatever capacity that looks like, whether it is God laid something on your heart to pursue years and years ago, and you've, for whatever reason, life has gotten in the way, circumstances gotten in the way, or life as it happens has prevented you from moving in the direction of the very thing that God laid on your heart to do. It is my job simply to call you back. That is what Go For It Sis is all about. It's literally that sentence, that mantra, Go For It Sis, reminds you to press forward in spite of everything. And really, it's about not stopping. I wrote a whole e-guide called Stop Stopping, because what I also realized is that too often we We think that we have to show up in our full capacity in every single season. And if we can't do that, then we can't show up at all. And what I'm learning is that consistency does not look the same every single day. Not only that, but it also doesn't require the same amount of you every single day. And so I'm learning that where we have this mindset to either start and stop, or if we don't feel like we are good enough, we will stop. Or we don't feel like we have done enough, we will stop. I am simply saying, stop stopping and go for it, sis. Like, go after the thing that God laid on your heart to do unapologetically. Press forward and do the 1% rule, right? Every single day, do something towards the very thing that you desire to do, and you'll get closer and closer to your goal. And one day you'll look up and you'll say, wow, I'm here, right? And then I also know that God does amazing things when we press forward, when we step forward out on faith. He meets us where we are. And so where we were thinking one thing, right? Where we were thinking, oh, well, these are the results that I should expect to see in this thing that I'm doing. You'll be amazed and surprised to see what actually takes place when you step forward. Right. And that's not to say that there won't be setbacks. That's not to say that there won't be mistakes made. But in every single area of movement, there shall be lessons. There will be wins and there will be lessons. All right. So back in December of 2025, as I was praying, as I was just in prayer, seeking God about Go For It Sis, I said, God, I just want to give you something to bless. Now, keep in mind, the podcast, I did a rebrand of the podcast so that its entire name is Go For It Sis. It still kind of operates under Progress on Purpose. But, those of you who've been rocking with me for a long time, you know that this podcast started as Progress on Purpose in 2019. And then evolved to Go For It Sis, so that all things could, be under the same umbrella earlier in 2025. But I found myself, teetering like we do, right? Like showing up when possible, showing up when I, would make the time to, and for good reason. Like I had I had 3 babies over the course of 2 years. So, life for real. And because it did, my capacity changed. And so I dealt with a lot of grief and a lot of guilt. Grief because I was grieving the woman that I wanted to become, the woman that I thought that I was, the woman that I thought I would be able to show up as. I was grieving even while, rearing my children, happy to rear them, but also understanding and learning in real time that life was going to look a lot different than it had in the past for me, right? And sometimes we don't understand that until we are in the middle of it, right? So I was grieving, but I also felt a measure of guilt because I felt like I wasn't showing up enough in the things that I committed to, right? So my podcast, for example, I wasn't committed to recording as often as I wanted to. And how you do anything is how you do everything. So we go down this rabbit hole, right? Where we feel like if we can't give 100%, then it's hard to give, 50% here and 50% there. And I had to kind of really get over that, because I realized that God gave this to me first and foremost, but also, like I said earlier, capacity is capacity, and it doesn't look the same every single day. And holding this measure of it's got to look the same way every single day was detrimental to my mental health. Not only that, it just was not feasible and was not possible, especially in a season where I had to give more of myself in the area of my family than I could in this area. So I really had to free myself from the expectation of showing up in the same way every single time and every single day. I no longer have the flexibility to have a very strict recording schedule and posting schedule and editing schedule. Like, right, I'm gonna tell you right now, when I'm done with this video, when I'm done with this audio, I am hitting upload. There will be no editing. So I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to not have a whole lot of ums and ahs. I'm doing my best to make this nice and clean because we don't have no time for editing. Okay? That's that. But anyway, I realized that in speaking the prayers that I prayed, first and foremost, God heard me, but also I had to have actions to put feet to faith, as I say, right? And so I decided to take the knowledge that I had about, to take the products that I had, right? Because I had the ebook, I had these pins here that I'm wearing, these Go For It Sis pins that I created back in October. And I said, you know what, God, I'm going to give you something to bless. I've done the organic route. I know what that's like, but also I'm not consistent in it because I don't have the time to show up the way that I would love to. Let me run ads. And I started running Facebook ads. And shout out to my girl, Audrey Lassane. You probably seen her around, but if you haven't, check her out. She is the guru when it comes to e-commerce, when it comes to just making money online, having presence online. She's the girl, okay? And so I had taken a course of hers years ago, and it was around, digital marketing. And so I had some evidence. I had some learning there. And so I decided to get my business manager up and running, dust off the cobwebs, and launch a couple of Facebook ads to my lapel pin product and tell my story. And so my ads have been and will continue to be my story. Right. And in doing so, so many women, when I say so many women, I'm going on, thousands of women have not only supported the brand, but have also joined the community. They've resonated with the message, Go For It Sis. And so now it's not just a podcast, but we are a movement. So I need to let you know real quick that we out here, okay? We are outside. We are doing the things that God laid on our heart to do. It starts with me, but it doesn't end with me. And what I'm learning is the message is pushing women to go after their God-given dreams and goals. I have received so many messages around women starting businesses, going back into certain fields, pursuing their passions, launching out, reaching out, pitching, simply because they are reminded to go after their God-given goals. And I don't take that lightly. I don't take that lightly. I feel that it is my responsibility to show up. And not only is it my responsibility, it is a burden. So, fast forward now to April, which we are in. I took a small break because I had to restock. I've actually restocked 3 times, but this last restock took a little bit longer because I didn't reach out to my vendor in time. So I had to take a little break. Learn some things too, because I realized that the ads that I was running them to my custom audience as opposed to running them to a broader audience. So I wasted a little money, and that gave me a little trepidation because I was like, dang, I'm doing well, I'm earning money, but I still messed up. And so I need to pause real quick because I need to address this mindset that everything, when you show up, it has to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. Let me tell you what mistake I'm not going to make again. Okay. When you show up and do the things that, you are led to do, it's going to give you data. It's going to give you feedback that you can then make the adjustments with, so that you don't do that ever again. Okay. But I need to remind you that you have to simply have the audacity to show up. You have to have the audacity to show up. Audacity is the only thing that's required. Everything else will take care of itself. But if you make the commitment to show up for the very thing that God laid on your heart to do, or to show up for the thing that you want to pursue, everything else will fall into place. And let me be very clear, because I am not simply and only talking about business. I'm talking about whatever area that is. That area could be your commitment to your family, your spouse, your children, your commitment to a financial goal, your commitment to your job, your position, your commitment to your dream. Whatever it is, I am simply saying, go for it, sis. Let me tell you something. I'm getting on a tangent, but I think I'm okay here. For a long time, when I say long, I mean long. For a long time, I had to, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I've had to assess, reassess, and take actions about how I showed up as a wife, how I showed up as a partner and a friend to my husband. And in areas where, and I'm still a work in progress, but I'm going to tell you this, I'm a lot better. And I'm grateful that my husband is super patient. But the reason why I struggle so much in this area is because I have a lot of trauma behind relationships. I have a lot of trauma behind, being in a relationship with a man. And you can listen to my episode on spiritual abuse, where I talk deeply about that. But that trauma and the experience that I've had, it infiltrates my relationship and my marriage. And so, and it's in me, right? It's in my mind. It's personal. I've done and will continue to do work with my counselor, with my therapist around it, but it still shows up from time to time. But now I can identify certain things. I know what triggers to look out for because I've, done the work, and I'm much better. However, I said that to say, for a long time, I wasn't talking about Go For It Sis in terms of being in business. I was talking about Go For It Sis in terms of being the person that I wanted to show up as. And, I need you to realize that you're one being. I tell my kids this all the time, like, how many people is mommy? One person, right? And I firmly believe that in certain instances, how you do anything is how you do everything. So it's not, you can't really so heavily into one area and think that it's going to be okay to neglect the others. And especially not when it comes to a commitment that you made to someone else around, marriage, for example. You've got to get that right, especially when you know that you are the problem. Like, I recognize that in this particular area, I was the problem. And I was at Women Evolve 2024 when someone came on stage. I can't remember who it was. It was a part of one of the segments. And someone said, if you are, she said, no one who is perfectly healthy in a good relationship with a good person wants to avoid intimacy. And when she said that, I was like, she probably right. And so that began, it wasn't the first, it wasn't the beginning, but it was really a time when I said, okay, let me get this right. Let me work on getting this right. Right. And so I've talked at length and other times about my struggles around intimacy with my husband. And I realized that it has nothing to do with him. Much of it is to do with me. Right. And so that's where I was. Done a lot of prayer, done a lot of work, but much better. Ask him, much better. But it took courage, in the same way that it would take courage to do anything else. And so I go back to this, having the audacity, making the commitment, having the courage to show up in whatever area you desire to. That is 90% of the battle. Everything else becomes data collection. Okay. I want to remind you that you have to show up because it's in your heart to. Like if it's in your sphere of mindset, or you feel like you need to do it, you probably do. Right? So when it came to Go For It Sis, I believe that I am getting the response that I'm getting because it was time. It was time to. It was time for me to launch out in the way that I did. And the response has been astounding. Like literally, I prayed for certain things. I prayed to have operate as a thought leader. I prayed to operate in the area of speaking as a speaker. And I'm getting invited to speak in places where I have to get on a plane and get a room and do all the things. I'm getting women who reach out to me on a daily basis to tell me the impact of what my message has. Like, I know that it was time. And it was in my heart to do, so I had the audacity to do it, and I'm seeing the results of that very thing. And so I'm simply sharing, have the audacity to show up in the very thing that is on your heart to do. I want to remind you that you are worthy. You are worthy of not only showing up, but of receiving everything that's on the other side of you showing up. I literally just texted my homegirl right before pressing record and said, I cannot believe that someone thinks that I am special enough to be a special guest. And I had to sit with that, and I said, but I believe that I'm special enough. And I'm grateful that somebody else sees it too. Like, it blew my mind for a second, but then I had to just check myself because I'm like, no, you pray for this. You are this. Like, this is who you are at your core. This is what you pray for. This is who you said you wanted to show up as in this world. And so press forward. Go for it, sis. Like, go after all the things and do not shrink. Do not shrink. Do not shrink for a second, but move forward in the direction that you are being pressed to go in, period. You are worthy. I'm talking to myself now. You are worthy of receiving everything that is on the other side of you pressing go, period. I want to remind you to show up for everything that you said that you would do. Show up for the very things that you promised your heart. You said, you put it in your journal. Because you know we all got a journal. You put it in your journal and you said you wanted to do it. You said you wanted to pursue it. You said you wanted to commit to it. Show up for that. Let that be your first step. Matter of fact, go and get your journal. Pause this. Go get your journal. Flip back a page or so and read the last thing that you said that you were going to do, and then go do it. Or put it on your calendar to do tomorrow. We have to start showing up for the very things that we said we wanted to do. It's in your heart for a reason. It's there for a purpose. And it is not something that you can just brush off. At the same time, it's time sensitive. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's there because it's important and it's also time sensitive. So you have to take action. And as you take action, you get to move forward. Okay? So show up for what you said you would do. Show up for what you prayed for. So when you get the invitations, when you get the results, you pray for them. So keep going. There came a point earlier in this month where I told you I had to restock my products, and I had a little trepidation about relaunching my ads because I turned them off while I was restocking. And so I had a little trepidation, but I said no. I prayed for this. So this morning, around 5 o'clock this morning, I turned them back on. I already made 2 sales today, right? Exciting. But what would it be if I choose to no longer show up for the very thing that I prayed for? Like, what are we doing? Right? You and I have got to show up for the very thing that we are asking God for. Do not shrink in this area. Okay. And I want to remind you that it doesn't all have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes, but those mistakes become lessons that you, A, won't make again, B, help you to calibrate for the next season. And it's just that simple. You and I, because if you listen to this podcast, if you are this deep in, you are someone who does not, first of all, you like to be calculated. You like to have things perfect. But I also know that you don't give up easily. And I need you to know that all of those things can still be true in the pursuit of everything that you are desiring to do. It doesn't all have to be perfect as you pursue it. So collect the data and press forward. Don't allow self-sabotage to get in the way of what you said you were going to do or what you are actually pursuing. Do not allow it. Okay? All right. That's it. All I'm saying is have the audacity to show up. Okay? Show up for yourself. Show up for what's on your heart. And don't allow yourself to make excuses for not showing up. Because that's the other side of it. Put it on your calendar. Put it on your schedule. Build it in. I heard a quote that says, anything that you're serious about or that is a priority for you, it's on your calendar. One thing about me, I said, okay, let me apply that. So what did I do? I said from 4:30 to 5:30, I'm recording. That's my recording hour. Do not disturb. Let's go. And so what that means is I have to build and structure my day and my time so that I can be in position to do my recording. And that's the way that I'm moving forward. And unless there is an extenuating circumstance, I'm going to be here. Okay. I hope that you would join me in my imperfect attempt to go for it, sis. I love you. I look forward to continuing to press on with you. Thank you for your attention thus far. Thank you for your connection thus far. Know that it is time sown in good ground, and I am rooting and I am praying for you. Have an amazing day. Take care.